We're kicking off today with WWE Smackdown as fans saw a much different side to Cody Rhodes, who was out to discuss what happened at Elimination Chamber Toronto. Rhodes' face was still bruised and he didn't do the usual whoa part of his entrance, and instead he wasted no time in addressing the elephant in the room. The champion shared that when his daughter Liberty asked what happened to his face, he had to lie and claim he ran into a wall rather than admit that Cena had turned heel. The crowd erupted in boos as Cody mentioned Cena and The Rock, and Rhodes claimed that one day he'll tell Liberty the truth that John Cena finally gave up. Cody called Cena before the heel turn, telling him that the title gets heavier every day, but declared John the last of a dying breed, and Rhodes held the title like it weighs nothing to him. Rhodes spoke from the heart to the crowd in Philadelphia and acknowledged that while he was loved in the city, his father Dusty once feared competing in Philly. Rhodes finished his promo by telling John Cena, "You want some? Come get some," borrowing a line from Cena's own playbook. This was a fiery promo from Rhodes, who was able to develop the story even without Cena or The Rock in attendance, in another impressive display from the undisputed WWE Champion. The drama on the road to WrestleMania 41 has just gotten more interesting as more has come to light about what direction WWE could have gone in at Elimination Chamber. According to Fightful Select, while initial reports suggested that The Rock wanted to align with Cody Rhodes, it's been confirmed that Rhodes was pitched a heel turn but turned it down. The Wrestling Observer newsletter originally reported that The Rock wanted to be in Rhodes' corner before WWE deemed turning their top current face into a heel to be too big a risk. After Rhodes turned the idea down, John Cena was then pitched to turn heel instead, and he immediately agreed, with The Rock being all in on making it happen. WWE believes Rhodes turning heel before WrestleMania would have negatively impacted both the company and the legacy he has built since finishing his story at WrestleMania 40. Though Rhodes has played a heel in the past, including as Stardust and his run in the Bullet Club, the belief within WWE is that the crowd firmly supports the American Nightmare. John Cena wasn't the only heel turn in Toronto, as Travis Scott also aligned with The Rock and even went as far as to strike Cody Rhodes in the head, reportedly injuring the WWE Champion. The Wrestling Observer newsletter adds that Scott injuring Rhodes and his involvement in the segment led to a lot of heat behind the scenes in WWE. Many feel he should not have been there or put in that situation with Rhodes, and while backstage sources said Scott was told to make it look good, he went too far. WWE has been considering booking Scott for future matches, and he has been training for in-ring competition as of late. Triple H shared backstage footage of Scott from after Elimination Chamber, and it was clear Scott had been treated well by The Game, The Rock, and others, making a return more likely. Cena vs. Rhodes was reportedly locked in as early as November, suggesting that WWE always intended for Cody to be a WrestleMania headliner this year, just like he was in 2023 and 2024. Would turning Cody heel have been a mistake, or did WWE make the right call? Drop your thoughts in the comments. It was confirmed on SmackDown that Rhodes will be the guest on Miz TV on next week's SmackDown in Barcelona, Spain, giving Rhodes another chance to hype up his match with John Cena. Things turned emotional quickly during SmackDown as Bianca Belair and Naomi had a heated confrontation that ended in a shocking betrayal and a beatdown. The EST kicked off the show's second hour by celebrating her Elimination Chamber win and looking ahead to her WrestleMania 41 showdown with Io Sky. Instead of truly soaking in her moment, though, Belair was focused on her falling out with Naomi and Jade Cargill's attack on the Glow at Elimination Chamber Toronto. Belair demanded answers, refusing to believe that Naomi had anything to do with Jade's ambush, and Naomi arrived wearing a blinged-out neck brace. Naomi tried to pivot the conversation towards the pair winning back the tag titles, but when Bianca pressed her, Naomi cracked and admitted that she did attack Jade. Naomi claimed that she didn't do it just for herself, but attacked Cargill for Belair as well, but the EST burst into tears and told Naomi not to touch her. In an interesting moment, Belair called Naomi Trinity, the real name of the Glow, and while this may have been a botch, it may have been deliberate to sell how real this betrayal has been. Botch or not, having Belair use Trinity's name helped blur the lines of reality and kayfabe, and major props has to be given for the genuine tears that were evoked in this segment. Belair declared their partnership over and left as fans serenaded Naomi with "You deserve it" chants. Naomi said she should have pushed Jade harder and sooner. Naomi called Bianca an ungrateful before Jade Cargill's music hit, and Bianca let her go, stepping aside as the storm charged straight for Naomi. Naomi tried to escape, but there was no way out as Cargill caught her, ragdolled her around ringside, and finally planted her with Jaded in the middle of the ring. The segment felt longer than what it was, but the story was pulled off well, with Naomi and Belair selling the emotion of what had happened. Cargill's sheer dominance put a brutal exclamation mark on the moment, and with WrestleMania looming, the women's division just got a lot more dangerous. Was Naomi's betrayal justified, or did she just sign herself up for more pain by attacking Jade and also turning on the ungrateful Bianca Belair? And where do you want to see this feud go next? Should it be a triple threat match at WrestleMania, or is a singles match better? Share your thoughts in the comments. But why did Naomi turn heel? Well, for one thing, it marks a refreshing change for the former SmackDown Women's Champion. Naomi has been a face for much of her WWE career, including all of her runs since returning in 2024, and being a heel will give her the chance to try something new. With how far WWE has pushed Belair and Cargill, Naomi always felt like the odd woman out in their trio, and this turn will give her the chance to have the spotlight by herself. This heel turn also opens new opportunities for Naomi, including future matches with Belair and Cargill, and time will tell how Naomi fares in this new heel role. Jade Cargill is taking no prisoners on WWE TV, and it turns out there have been tensions behind the scenes between Cargill and Shayna Baszler. This week it was reported that the pair had experienced real heat last year before Cargill was written off TV due to her injury. According to both Fightful and the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the drama began during a match in Scotland when Jade tapped out at a moment that wasn't supposed to be the finish. Though it was Cargill who went against the plan, she blamed Baszler, and sources confirmed after the match that Jade commented that Baszler needed to learn how to work. That quickly spread among talent and didn't sit well with many, and the report added that Cargill had rubbed many in the Raw Women's division the wrong way. This got to the point that Baszler was ready to fight before WWE management learned of this and were able to calm the situation down. With this information coming to light, fans are starting to connect the dots to old tweets from last year, including some posts from June of last year. In a tweet, Baszler praised Zoe Stark on nailing 3 perfect springboards and brought up a ropes issue, a nod to Jade Cargill's issue with the ring ropes at Clash at the Castle Scotland. In case you've forgotten, at WWE's first Scottish PLE, Cargill tried to jump into the ring by springing off the top rope but slipped, leading to mockery online. Firing back at Baszler, Cargill said that no one came to see you two and called Baszler a little pick-me, but since deleted the tweet in question. Sources close to Cargill later shared that Jade was disappointed in herself for how things played out with Baszler and was said to be apologetic backstage. This situation isn't the only one where a tweet from Jade has caused a backlash, as after returning last week, Jade shared a photo in which she mentioned wolves in the form of women. In response, Chelsea Green shared a pic of herself chilling with her dogs and stated, "Imagine calling your coworkers wolves while demanding respect, and I'm just over here like..." It seems Cargill's video rubbed Green the wrong way, and it remains to be seen if Cargill can mend things with Baszler, Green, and other women in WWE. Jade Cargill has been pushed strong since arriving in WWE, but this situation could prove to be a major roadblock for her, and we'll continue to follow this situation for updates. Randy Orton kicked off WWE Smackdown this week, and fans in Philadelphia were thrilled to see the Viper who addressed all the chaos that has unfolded in WWE lately. Orton name-dropped John Cena, which drew loud boos from the crowd, and Orton mocked his longtime rival who was once at the top of the business. Now Cena is just a bottom for Rock, and after a brief pause, Orton smirked and added, "That gives a new meaning to the term rock bottom." It was great to have Orton reference Cena and his heel turn, as it gives the turn gravitas and shows what happened at far extends past the WWE title picture and Cody Rhodes. Shifting focus, Orton turned his attention to Kevin Owens, and though he shared respect for Owens' journey to WWE, he admitted he can't stand who Owens has become. Orton delved into Owens' history of jealousy, particularly in his rivalry with Sami Zayn, and questioned what Owens, a 2-time WrestleMania headliner, needs to be jealous about. Owens has won nearly every major title in WWE but is never satisfied, and Orton then shared that KO has done something big. He's pissed the Legend Killer off. The Viper wanted to punt Owens' face off at Elimination Chamber, declaring that Pat McAfee is only the second best punter in WWE before throwing the mic down. Orton is now focused on Owens, making a WrestleMania match likely, but this sharp jab at Cena and The Rock also raised questions about entering a program surrounding the WWE title. This week, Mercedes Moné attended the Queen of the Ring premiere and had photos taken with several fellow AEW names, including her recent rival Harley Cameron. On social media, fans berated Moné for breaking kayfabe and pointed out that the pair have been in a feud, with one fan even calling Moné unprofessional. While kayfabe isn't as strictly followed as it once was, the belief is that two women who have been feuding shouldn't be so chummy outside the ring, leading to the backlash against Moné. Following a strong performance at Elimination Chamber alongside Trish Stratus, Tiffany Stratton returned to the ring on SmackDown for a non-title match against Piper Niven. While Niven held the size and power advantage, Stratton proved she could hold her own within the first few minutes of the match. With Chelsea Green absent from ringside, the bout was a fair contest, free from the usual interference often associated with the United States Women's Champion and her enforcer. The match, though solid, was not exactly groundbreaking, and while everything was executed well, there weren't many standout moments outside of the finish. With that said, it was good to see Niven get a chance to shine without Green at ringside, as while Green's presence adds to her character, it can sometimes overshadow others in the ring. Stratton secured the victory with the prettiest moonsault ever, but her celebration was short-lived as Charlotte Flair attacked the WWE Women's Champion. Flair clipped the knee of her WrestleMania 41 opponent before locking in the figure 4 that she bridged into the figure 8 as officials rushed in to try and break it up. The crowd erupted as Flair refused to let go, sending a clear message to Stratton on the road to WrestleMania, as the Queen isn't playing any games on her quest back to the top of WWE. Charlotte Flair and B-Fab shared a segment backstage, and it was confirmed that they will do battle during next week's Smackdown in Barcelona. While Charlotte will almost certainly win, giving B-Fab the opportunity in singles action will hopefully do a lot for the underrated star, even in defeat. Backstage, Nick Aldis busted out the whiteboard to give a detailed history of the WWE Tag Title picture, and it was confirmed that the Street Profits will compete for the titles next week. The Motor City Machine Guns battled Los Garza and Pretty Deadly to decide who'd be next to face the tag champions after that title match, and it was Pretty Deadly who got the win. The duo will face either the Profits or DIY for the titles down the line, as the former NXT Tag Team Champions hope to win their first taste of gold on the main roster. Braun Strowman vs. Solo Sikoa was cut short when Tama Tonga caused the disqualification, but after this, Strowman had a stare-down with Jacob Fatu on opposite sides of the ring. The pair wasted no time in fighting, and while some spots were sloppier than others, they would battle to some production crates, where Braun would chokeslam Fatu through 2 tables. Despite the move, Fatu was able to get back to his feet, showing that he couldn't be kept down for long in the latest development of the feud between the two. The question now is whether this can last all the way to WrestleMania, and if so, these two could have the hardest-hitting match this April in Las Vegas. With a street fight for her women's US title looming, Chelsea Green was dressed as Cactus Jack, complete with a flannel and a Wanted Dead or Alive shirt, which is now available on WWE Shop. Zelina Vega was backstage to tease interest in the US women's title, but in the ring, Green and Michin battled with all they had, with Michin even biting the fingers of the champion. Green hit an impressive coast-to-coast, but B-Fab arrived to attack Piper Niven with a kendo stick, keeping Green's Secret Service at bay. Just as it appeared Michin would get the win, a hooded individual pulled Chelsea out of the ring and revealed themselves to be Alba Fire. Wearing a US flag pin on her collar, Fire hit the Canadian Destroyer, allowing Green to get the win, and a post-match salute from Fire teased her as the newest member of Green's cabinet. There is something ironic about a group taking inspiration by a US presidential campaign when none of the members are from the United States. Bringing Fire back after the exit of Isla Dawn is an interesting move, though one has to wonder if this was a spot originally planned for Blair Davenport. Prior to her release, Davenport had been seen speaking with Piper Niven backstage, but now it'll be Fire who works alongside the US champion and her secret Hervis going forward. Nick Aldis confirmed that Carmelo Hayes will face Randy Orton on next week's SmackDown, and with The Miz and Hayes in alliance, we can't count out the A-lister getting involved. Early into SmackDown, Drew McIntyre attacked Damian Priest in the backstage area, furious at Priest eliminating him from the Men's Elimination Chamber match. Later on SmackDown, McIntyre defeated Jimmy Uso but was attacked by Priest after the match, another sign of a WrestleMania match between the two former world champions. Andrade told Berto that he deserves better than how Santos Escobar has been treating Los Garza, and while Angel walked away, Berto stayed to hear what Andrade had to say. A Los Garza split being teased now is an odd call given that they've only relatively recently been involved in the WWE Tag Team title picture, and splitting them would seem like a step backwards. Both members of Los Garza joining Andrade would be the best solution to this situation, though it remains to be seen if that takes place. And in the main event of SmackDown, LA Knight battled US champion Shinsuke Nakamura, a match that came about as Knight earned a title match during last week's show. Lillian Garcia gave the match a big fight feel with her introductions, and while Knight came out swinging, Nakamura took control after a commercial break. When Knight fought back, he attempted to hit a BFT, but Nakamura rolled out of the ring, where the match got taken to another level. When a steel chair was introduced into the mix, Charles Robinson prevented Knight from using it, and when Nakamura went to use it, Robinson grabbed the weapon from the champion. Robinson would be on the receiving end of the red mist from Nakamura, meaning he couldn't count to 3 when Knight had the champ pinned. When Nakamura hit Scorpio Rising and tried to use the chair again, Knight countered by kicking the chair right into Nakamura's face before hitting the BFT, and a new ref counted the 3. For the second time in his career, LA Knight is the WWE US Champion, and with WrestleMania looming, fans will have to wonder what's in store for the new champ this April in Allegiant Stadium. And that was this week's SmackDown, and what did you make of the show? Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. WWE Hall of Fame news now, as Lex Luger will be inducted into this year's class, joining Triple H and Michelle McCool, who have already been announced. Luger was surprised with the news in a meeting that included his friend/life coach Diamond Dallas Page and the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes. Having made a name both in WWE and WCW, Luger is a worthy inductee, and he'll have his moment next month as part of the WrestleMania week festivities. We've got news from TNA now, as Hammerstone took to Twitter this week to share that he has parted ways with the company and is now a free agent. Hammerstone signed with TNA in 2024, though injuries played havoc for much of his run, and we'll have to see where the former MLW World Champion goes next in his career. Speaking of departing talent, AEW recently cut some notable names, including Miro, Ricky Saints, and Malachi Black, and fans have now learned of more departures. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, it is reported that Abaddon and Nick Camarado have also left AEW, joining Zach Knight, who we previously reported on. Abaddon signed with AEW in June 2020 and last wrestled for the promotion in December 2023 in a losing effort to Julia Hart in a TBS title House Rules match at that year's World's End. Camarado debuted on AEW Dark in October 2020 and was last seen in the ring as part of ROH on Honor Club on August 11, 2024, where he lost to Lee Johnson. Camarado would undergo hip resurfacing surgery that same month and was expected to be out until 2025, and now his future in the ring will be outside AEW and Ring of Honor. The report adds that despite these departures, the AEW roster page has yet to reflect the changes, as updates on the website tend to be slow. Tony Khan recently shared that his attitude on releases had changed, and rather than automatically waiting on contracts as he did on the past, it will now be on a case-by-case basis. With more releases expected, it remains to be seen how this affects AEW's programming, as the company is ready to let go of talent it feels are no longer needed. Rey Fenix is another name who has reportedly exited AEW, and now his arrival in WWE isn't a question of if, but when. Fightful Select reports that Fenix is expected to have his medical with WWE soon, and the belief is that he'll make his long-awaited debut once WWE's Tour of Europe wraps up on March 31st. Rey Fenix joining WWE will allow him to reunite with Penta, who has been a key player since his arrival in January, and fans can expect the Lucha Bros on WWE programming soon enough. And we're ending with news from NWA, as Natalia Markova is proving to be one to watch in the ring as well as high above it. During a recent episode of NWA Power, Markova battled Tiffany Neves in a cage match and hit a death-defying shotgun dropkick from the top of the cage onto Neves. Markova was able to win the match and certainly earned the respect of the crowd after what was an incredible display of offense from the NWA star.